Welcome to the BFIT podcast Extra Time, where we dive deep into the world of sports. I'm Bernato, Breedt, and co-hosting me is BFIT athlete Janku Jonge.
From thrilling match reviews to insightful previews, whether you're a couch potato or sport fanatic, we're here to bring you all the action, analysis and excitement from the world of sports. So grab your jersey, settle in and get ready for some extra time with the BFIT podcast.
Welcome back to the BFIT podcast Extra Time. This is your host Bernato, Breedt, and our new co-host Thapelo, Phora. Welcome. Thank you so much for joining us, man.
Thank you for having me here, man.
You love it. Oh, finally some good vibes. Oh, damn, Janku's been kicked off the island. He's going to watch this video and probably think, no, it's just a guy standing in. But Janku, I am sorry. You will be the one standing in the future. Your place has been taken. So we're going to basically run through the weekend sports. As you guys know, we dive a little bit into analysis, talk a little bit of the backstories, give you guys some more insights. And just have a good chat and a good laugh about what happened and how we see the world of sport. I'm going to dive in directly into this weekend's football. So in the La Liga, we had Real Madrid versus Mallorca. It was a 1-1 draw. We had Rayo Vallecano versus Real Sociedad. Rayo Vallecano beat Sociedad 2-1 in the Italy Serie A. The Serie A. We had Lazio beat Venezia 3-1. I can't pronounce the other names, but Roma versus Cagliari. I don't know how to pronounce that. They just have to excuse me. My English is not that great. Well, my Italian is not that great. 0-0. Verona beat Napoli 3-0. Wow. I don't know much about football, but I know Napoli is a great.
Napoli.
And they got thrashed 3-0. Bologna and Udinese 1-1. And then in the Premier League, Manchester City thrashing Chelsea 2-0. Brentford, Crystal Palace 2-1 for Brentford. In the English Championship 4-0. And then Barcelona beating Valencia 2-1. Osasuna and Leganes 1-1. Serie A again, AC Milan, Torino 2-2. And Empoli, Monza 0-0. Parma, Fiorentina 1-1. Inter Milan, Genoa 2-2. Then in the Premier League again, we're just going to run through, as we do not speak too much about football, but we give you guys a little bit of a recap. A little something, you know. Aston Villa beating West Ham 2-1. Nottingham Forest, Bournemouth 1-1. Newcastle 1-0 to Southampton. And Brighton beating Everton 3-0. That's a bit of a surprise, as Everton has always been in the top 6, top 8. Well, at least top 10. Arsenal beating Wolves 2-0. Ipswich getting defeated 2-0 by Liverpool. And then there's just some English Championship, which I'm not going to go into too much. And then Premier League again, Manchester United beating Fulham. Well, I love Manchester United. So
I love it too.
You're also a Man United fan.
I'm a big fan.
Man United, there we go, finally. Some good football lovers. And then in the world of sport that we love a little bit more, I would say, just, you know, my first love would be rugby. I don't know how you feel about rugby.
I love rugby. I eat rugby. I love rugby. Remember, I used to be a rugby player, man.
Before you were an athlete,
Yes, I used to be a good winger.
Yeah, I remember.
I've always had the speed.
I can imagine. Being an Olympic sprinter, I can imagine you had
comes from somewhere, bro.
Yeah, so it all came from rugby, eh?
All came from rugby, bro.
Yes. Till today you love it, eh?
Till this day, bro. Yes.
Number
like
one
I said,
sport?
I eat rugby. I sleep rugby. I breathe rugby.
Okay, so we can definitely say you love rugby.
I love it.
Well, let's start on a bit of the lower teams, but international rugby, Brazil beating Paraguay 77-17.
That's painful. Yes, I felt it, man. What was it?
77-17. Yeah, that does not look like a rugby
that
score.
Gave me a stitch.
That is crazy, man.
Oh.
And then we have the Curry Cup that kicked off. We had the Hollywood Bet Sharks beating the Toyota Cheetahs 25-0. I did not watch the game. I'll honestly say I didn't watch any Curry Cup. I don't know if you watched Curry Cup.
No,
I did not watch the Curry Cup. And then the Lions beating the Stormers, or the Western Province as we know it in the Currie Cup, 41-22. Bit of a thrashing. And then over more to the rugby that I think all of us want to talk about. And that is the Rugby Championship.
The Maboko Bogos.
The Maboko Boko. Taking on Australia in Australia for the second weekend in a row. And giving them sweets again, 30-12.
Clearly home ground advantage doesn't work.
I can see that.
It doesn't. Not with the Springboks.
Nothing works with the Springboks. We'll beat you anyway.
Calm, rain or sunshine, we'll beat you.
Oh, that's beautiful. You have a little bit of insights for us on the rugby. You watched it. You enjoyed it. What is your take on this weekend's rugby?
Guys, first of all, I want to say, did you guys see that combination of Colby and Arenze? Yes. That combination is dangerous.
And they haven't played a lot of games together. It's always either been Aronson, Mapimpi, or Aronson, Moodley.
So I think those two, they should definitely use them more often. Because like they can communicate and it's like they have that connection.
Yeah.
Yes, the way they were communicating, man. Everything was smooth. Like when one of them has the ball, the other one's right here. Yes, yeah, I loved it.
And it's crazy that two wingers link up like that. It's not always.
Yeah, it's not always, bro. Usually it's the back, the forward.
Yeah.
It was beautiful, bro. And not to mention that kick that Mampimpi did.
Down the sideline, the grabber kick.
World class, man.
Put it on his weaker foot.
Yo, and it stayed in the field.
On the run.
Guys,
That's beautiful, eh?
No, man, our team is something else, man.
Because Aronson and Colby played well together in the World Cup. That's when they picked them together.
I think from there on, their relationship got even much stronger.
You think so?
Yeah, I definitely think so, man. You could see, man, in the pitch that those guys, man, they're playing like they're friends. It's not like they only see each other in the pitch, but then also outside of the pitch. You can tell, man. You can see the vibe.
You can see the vibe.
You can see the vibe.
You can see the vibe. It's always a vibe, man. Any more insights for us on that?
Let's see. Oh, yeah. And before the game, I heard people saying that our rugby coach is disrespectful to Australia because he's putting in a weak team. Where are they now? Was that a weak team?
Was that a weak team? No, that was definitely not a weak team.
Even though we had newbies in the team, but it's scary, bro, because of even the guys that were playing this time around, they could also play in the World Cup, and I believe that we could have won.
That's true.
Yeah, man. Yes, it's like we have strong guys in the field. Also outside the field on the bench, like we have. No, man. It's ridiculous, bro. No one's gonna beat us, man. It doesn't make sense, man, for a rugby team to be this strong.
That's true.
I promise you, bro. It was strong. From the forward to the back line. No, man, this game was something else.
And you know what's funny? How people were saying, Mani can't kick, and Pollard is on his way out, and then a guy like Sasha Feinberg Nkomazulu.
Nkomazulu.
A boyki out of nowhere.
A young man.
A young man. He's still a young boyki. That's what he is. He's still a young boy, but he plays like he's been there for years, eh? He had that one that he was through. It was a very rainy day, especially in the first half. I don't know if you saw that breakthrough, and then the ball got passed to him and he knocked it. Yes, an open try line. But other than that, you can't really say he did anything else wrong. He was on top of his game. So
he was definitely.
What I can remember, it was pretty much a flawless game, except for that. He did miss one or two kicks that was quite difficult, but both fly-offs missed a lot of kicks. They missed some easy kicks. That penalty before halftime.
I also think it's because of that rain.
Yeah, I mean, it was soaking wet. It's easy for spectators to sit on the side and go, oh yeah, you should have kicked that. You go and kick that.
We've been there, bro.
You go and kick that in the rain, in a soaking wet field.
It's not that easy.
No, it's not easy at all, man. You've got some interesting comments you want to share with us on the Boca games.
Yeah, I've been going through the internet, the social media. Then I realized that people have a lot to say, man. Yes, people have a lot to say, man.
Read us the funniest ones.
Okay, let me check. There's this one that I saw. But then I'm not going to go too deep.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
Because, some people can
be
rude.
Yeah, okay. Keep it PG.
Yo.
But PG-16.
Yeah, PG-16. Okay, no, this guy here. No, this makes sense. He's like, we missed a few opportunities, but damn, this box his potential. Our forwards are so dominant, and now with adding some more expensive running to the mix, and the new talent emerging, with Rasi at the well, it's not a stretch to say this side could pull off a historic consecutive World Cup. And I believe we can.
I believe it too.
I remember my uncle told me that he's been following the rugby World Cup. Actually, he's been following this rugby thing since 2007. And he mentioned that he believes that the Boks will win the World Cups like four times in a row. And this time, it's the third time.
I think, that is true. Because if we go 2019, we go 2019, 2023, 2027 and 2031.
We're coming for that 2031.
But I think 2027 is almost... I know we don't want to sound cocky, but... Because a lot of teams have gotten cocky before. The All Blacks have definitely been there. Everyone's been there.
Australia as well, brother.
But the amount of depth we have, like we've got 5 8-men we can pick. We've got almost 8 top class props. We've got 4 proper fly-offs. We've got so many wings like Mapimpi, Arendse, Colby, Moody. That's just to name a few. Then what's that other guy that made his debut? Also plays with a scrum cap. He also runs like Arendse and
what's his name?
but you know who I'm talking about.
Yeah,
he made his debut against Wales and he scored that amazing little try. I mean, we've got so many players. I forgot his name now, but we've got so many players and so much depth that you never know. Maybe most definitely.
I think so, man.
Yeah.
The thing is with our guys, man, they don't just play rugby. It's like they're playing it from the heart, bro. Yes.
Like they said with Dricus's fight, we'll get to that. But as they said in Dricus's fight, it was actually Joe Rogan because he wasn't a commentator for the fight. As you know, he was watching it on a live stream on his podcast. And they were sitting and talking, and the way they were talking, they were like, and it's almost like that France game when we played against France in the quarterfinals. They were over us and they basically were demolishing us, but somehow we kept on getting points, with the charge down from Colby of the conversion, and then directly after that the chip through, and then he scored.
We just always find a way.
We always find a way, right? And it was like pretty much what Dricus said in the post-match. He said, I always find a way. And then it was just funny how I watched the reaction from Joe Rogan. They were all like, Easy looks so sharp. This is the old Easy. Everyone's like, Easy. And out of nowhere, it's like everyone just got silenced, right? And then as immediately as Dricus won, it was like no one expected it. And Joe Rogan sits there and he's like, the Mandela effect. That's what he said. He literally said it. He said it's the Mandela effect. It's like Mandela was such a big prophet that he spoke so much out on South African sport that Dricus kept on mentioning Mandela in the pre-match conference. And he says, when we fight or when we play, whether it's cricket, rugby, tennis, soccer, swimming, we don't just play for ourselves. We also don't just play for our country. It's almost like we play for something more.
Something within, something deep.
Yeah, it is, eh?
Rainbow
you
Nation.
Can see it. Yeah, Rainbow Nation. Come on, lads. Come on, boys. So I think we can definitely say our country's got a lot of depth and there's a lot of hope, irregardless. And we can see what sport is doing for us in our country.
Yeah.
And I think the Bokke are playing a very big role. Eh?
Yeah, big time.
I mean, the Bokke walked Dricus out. Sia Kolisi and Eben Etzebeth walked into the ring with the national anthem playing as his walkout song. He didn't choose his favorite song. He didn't choose this. He chose the national anthem.
That's one thing I love about our country, bro. Yes. And one thing I love about our rugby team, not only South Africa is supporting us, but then the whole world. I mean, everyone is talking about the Springboks.
That's true.
The Americans, European countries. Everyone is supporting us, man.
That's true.
Yeah, no. So now when Mandela said sport is going to bring everyone together, he meant it.
No,
I can see it now.
You can see it.
Yes.
Even with the fighting.
Yeah,
and it's a sport no one knew. Like a couple of years ago, no one even knew what fighting was. And now you've got a whole nation standing by anyone. Tomorrow we've got a table tennis player in the final. We'll be watching.
Bro. I mean, till this day, bro, young kids are talking about drinkers, bro. You walk around the streets, drinkers.
Yeah.
So now everyone is watching MMA, man.
Yeah.
Because of that one guy.
Because of drinkers. Welcome back to the BFIT podcast Extra Time. We are just continuing on a bit of the review of this weekend's sport. We will be finishing off with the UFC, where our boy Drickus defended his title against one of the best, if not the best middleweight of all time. Well, he has gone down as the best middleweight of all time. And we wouldn't say he made it look easy because... he did make it look easy. But he didn't make it look easy. But all of his fights, it doesn't look like an easy fight. All of his fights is a dog fight. And I think that sort of like displays and shows us who we are as a nation. You know, if you look at our rugby, you look at all our sports, even with athletics, with the relay.
Yeah.
If you look at the relay in the Olympics, we were around that bend, we were like 4th, 5th. And then Akani came through, taking the silver.
Silver medal.
You know, that shows us who we are. You know, it doesn't always look pretty.
We always find a way.
We find a way,
always
man.
find a way.
The Mandela effect.
The Mandela effect.
It's real, man.
He's with us, bro.
People don't believe us. In the AFCON, I almost believed it.
Yo.
Because it was like that, bro. It was like that. I almost thought it. I was like, wow, the Mandela effect. With that penalty
I
and
believe
that goal,
it, bro.
I was like, wow, it's happening. It's really going to happen. But we'll come back for the AFCON. So I believe South Africa's football still has a lot to offer.
Yeah.
But yeah, just amazing for Drickus and an amazing fight. Submitting Izzy in the 4th round with a rear naked. Would you call it a choke or more like a rear naked fulcrum? But it was more of like a rear naked fulcrum with a very unorthodox, what would you call it, choking technique. But he strangled him and he tapped. So. He tapped quicker than a Checker 60 guy tapping out.
I mean, you saw how big Drickus is, bro. The strength.
Checker 60, bro. Checker 60, bro. Quick tap. Like one of those Checker 60 collectors guys. Like just quick, load the bin.
Faster than lightning.
That's why it's Checker 60, bro. Quick. Bro. So that was basically it for this week in sport. I think we're gonna go over to the previews of what's to come this weekend. I don't know a lot that's happening in the MMA world. Katiso, do you have any updates for us? What's happening in the MMA world? Upcoming events, nothing too massive to speak about.
Any upcoming Drickus?
We don't know yet, but he would be coming. But if you're going to be looking at fixtures for the rugby, we've got the Vodacom Blue Bulls going up against the Suzuki Griquas. I like all these names coming up. The Suzuki Griquas. Suzuki. Griquas? Griquas? It's only an Afrikaans person that can say that. Other people say the Griquas.
The Griquas.
The Griquas.
Yeah.
Is it Griquas, my bro? Is it Griquas? It sounds a bit intimidating.
Yeah. Griquas.
The Griquas. The Griquas. And then we've got the DHL Western Province versus the Hollywood Bet Sharks. This weekend we've got the Cheetahs versus the Lions. Then we've got the Griffins versus the Pumas. And that sort of looks like it from that perspective. In the Rugby Championship, it's only the weekend after that the Springboks take on New Zealand here in South Africa. And then obviously Argentina taking Australia, but that's only the weekend after. So there's not really, that much happening in that perspective. But if you're going to be looking at fixtures for the football, we can just run past it. I'm not going to waste anyone's time on that. But, what's happening here? Okay, here we go. What's happening here, boys? Fixtures. Okay, so fixtures coming up. We've just got some Liga, Premier League. We've got Leicester City versus Tottenham. Then La Liga again. We've got Celta Vigo versus Valencia. Sevilla versus Villarreal. English Championship. Then in the Premier League, Man United, Brighton, Crystal Palace, West Ham, Bristol versus Coventry. That's in the English Championship, so that's not too important for us. We don't cover that. And it sort of looks like that's that. Let me just make sure. Sorry guys, here we go. English Championship. We've got Premier League. We've got Fulham versus Leicester. We've got Manchester City versus Ipswich, Southampton versus Nottingham Forest. We've got Tottenham Hotspur, Everton, Aston Villa, Arsenal, Bristol, that's yet again in the championship, so we don't cover that. Sorry guys, only the top leagues. Apologies. I do apologize. La Liga, Osasuna versus Mallorca, Barcelona versus Athletic Club. We've got Getafe versus Rayo Vallecano. We've got Espanyol versus Real Sociedad. Italian Serie A. We've got Parma versus AC Milan, Udinese versus SS Lazio, Inter Milan versus Lecce. We've got Monza versus Genoa. Then Premier League, Bournemouth, Newcastle, Wolves, Chelsea, and Liverpool, Brentford. So it's still early days. As we know, the Premier League is not a race, it's a marathon. So there's still a lot of games coming. Not a lot of big games, but I think in retrospect, all games are big. And then in the La Liga, Real Madrid versus Real Valladolid. Valladolid. I don't even know that club existed. But yeah, that one. That one. Leganés versus Las Palmas. Deportivo Alves versus Real Betis. Atletico Madrid versus Girona. And then Fiorentina versus Venezia. Torino versus Atlanta. Napoli versus Bologna. AC Roma versus Empoli, and then we've got Cagliari, that one that I couldn't say earlier. Cagliari versus Como, Hellas Verona versus Juventus, and then Villarreal versus Celta Vigo. So also, just that's basically the sport coming up for this weekend. On the cricket side of things, I don't know if you are big in cricket. Not a lot of people are, but I'll be the one to give us a little bit of the fixtures. We've got Pakistan versus Bangladesh in their first test.
That's going to be a big one.
It's going to be massive. All the world is going to be watching.
Yes. Pakistan and Bangladesh.
You never know. There's a lot of people in Asia. Let me give you an interesting fact. What do you think is the second most watched sport in the world? Must be a dead giveaway. Number one is football.
I wouldn't say rugby because...
It's not.
It's not rugby.
The second most watched sport in the world is cricket.
Really?
I think I know why.
Football has got 3.5 billion. Cricket's got 2.7 billion.
Oh.
For one reason. The whole of India.
I was about to say that it's overpopulated.
That's rude. That's rude.
But honestly, bro, it's true.
It's true.
Yeah.
They're like 2 billion people.
Yes.
And they love cricket.
They love it,
in India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, those 4 countries, cricket is religion. I'm not lying, it's a culture. And they love it. So I mean, you've got them, and that's why it's such a big thing. You know, more people know AB de Villiers than people know Andre Pollard. You know what I'm saying? 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 Then we got England versus Sri Lanka. We've got Netherlands versus Canada. Then first T20 versus West Indies. South Africa versus West Indies. So maybe people might watch that. Then we've got United States, Canada again, and that's about it. From this weekend's sport. And then I know the motorsports is back. I don't know if you're into Formula 1, but not that much. But there is Formula 1. It's the Dutch Grand Prix. So hopefully Max Verstappen can win in his home ground. But that's about it from this weekend's sports. There's not a...
There's UFC.
Is there UFC? UFC fight night. Who's fighting?
Main event, Jared Cannonier versus Kyle Barillo.
That's a top 10, both of them.
It's going to be interesting.
And then women's strawweight, my girlfriend Angela Hill versus Thapelo.
Did you hear that? Did you hear that? Angela Hill, with you.
Neil Magny.
Magny.
Yeah, Neil Magny versus Michael Morales.
Okay.
And then another middleweight bout, Edmund Shabazin versus Gerald Mishat. Yeah.
So, the only person I know on that whole card, 2 people, is Cannonier and then your girlfriend. So that's about it. That's about all I know. But I mean, it's a top 10 fight, both in the top 10 in the middleweight. That's the main card. That's a very strong main card for a fight night.
It's going to be interesting.
I think that's going to be a good fight to watch. But other than that, I don't think there's a lot of sport coming up. I think it will obviously increase with the rugby championship taking a break and that coming back next weekend. And I think then we'll be back with some more information. Next week, Monday, we'll just do a little bit of a recap on what happened this weekend with the rugby, with the football. We'll see if there was any big fixtures or any big, results like Brazil beating Paraguay 77-17.
Yo. What was that? 77?
77-17. Yo.
Gives me a heartburn, bro, when you say it.
Have you ever heard about Brazil playing rugby?
Never, bro.
It's crazy.
It's crazy, bro.
But it's doing a lot for sport. Like
it is.
Seeing these smaller nations coming up, and rugby is evolving. Rugby is.
I think it's because of the previous World Cup.
Yes.
Yeah.
And rugby is the most growing sport after UFC, after mixed martial arts. So mixed martial arts is the number one growing sport in the world. And then second after that, it's rugby. So what's nice to see is rugby is still a growing sport. And we know how seriously we take rugby in South Africa. For us, it's like cricket for India.
Culture.
Yeah, it's culture. But I mean, there's only like 50 million people in South Africa, and there's 2 billion people in India. So it's saying times 200 times 10, so it's 20 times. They've got 20 times more people than we do.
Yo. Jeez. It's a lot.
Yeah.
And also have a lot of Indian people here in SA.
And they love cricket.
They love it, bro.
You saw how when I went to cut my hair on Friday.
Yo.
I spoke to the Pakistanis. They love cricket. Bro.
People walked in and out, bro. Quick haircuts.
Yeah.
And you were there for like 5 hours, bro. Talking about cricket.
I should have just said nothing.
Yo.
I should have said nothing. Sorry.
Yes, they were enjoying it, bro. Those guys were enjoying it.
Thank you for waiting for me.
It's a pleasure, man. It's a pleasure.
I do
I
appreciate
was also
it.
enjoying it, man. I was enjoying the conversation.
You were.
Seeing those guys talking about cricket, yes.
They had someone on the phone there. Yeah, this one. Talk to him. I'm like,
when you told them that you play cricket, yes, they were excited. All of them, bro. Their eyes were popping out.
And you know what's funny? Because where the conversation started was the team they support back home in Pakistan. It's called Lahore Qalandars.
Yo, Lahore Qalandars.
Lahore Qalandars, and they are from Lahore. And the guy that trained here in lockdown, he trained here in lockdown. Well, the second lockdown, 2021, 2022. Dean Foxcroft. He's from South Africa. He was born here. He was born here in Senegal. And he plays for New Zealand. He's now a black cap. So he plays for New Zealand international. No, he's South African.
South African.
But now he plays for New Zealand internationally. And he gave me, and then he got signed for the PSL, which is the Pakistani Super League. And he played for the Lahore Qalandars, and he gave me the Lahore Qalandars kit. So I told him, like, what's the chances? And I don't wear it because I don't support the Qalandars. So I said to him, next time if I come and cut my hair, I'm bringing you the warm-up jersey and the match jersey.
I remember.
And he was like,
yes, when you told him that,
I think he
gave you a clean card.
Yeah, he did give me a clean card.
He made sure everything is smooth, bro.
He even gave me the facial creams. You saw
everything,
everything. He did the eyebrows. He made sure I looked.
Yes, you walked out there looking smooth, man.
I looked smooth, and then I left with speed. Came out smooth and left with a.
That was actually a great day, man. That was a good.
It was an amazing day.
Yeah, it was, bro.
Thank you so much
It's a pleasure,
for making my Friday work.
It was a good Friday.
It was a good Friday. Oh, thank you so much. Thapelo, thank you so much for tonight. I appreciate it. This was so much fun.
Thanks to you too, man, for having me here.
We're going to do it again.
Of course, bro.
Thank you so much, guys. Have a beautiful night and or day, whichever time you're watching this non-live podcast. And say goodbye to Yanku.
Yeah, and see you next week with some extra sauce.
Some more sauce.
Spicy.
Awesome stuff. Cheers, guys.